And as a man, we are automatically the bad guy. Anytime we break up, when a relationship ends, nobody goes to the woman and is like, damn, damn, Toya, what you do? Why mom break up with you? Like, no, it's my dog. What you do to Toya? Like, she was so sweet. She looked so happy when y'all on these trips and shit. And now all of a sudden, because y'all not together, it's because of your fault.
I want to make a clear distinction between social media influencing relationships and the ones who are faking it just in general, but then the ones who faking it for like likes and the ones who faking it for, whatever they faking it for. I just know like me, for example, I post my girlfriend all the time. I'm sorry, my fiance. I gotta get used to that. I post her all the time, right? And my shit is real. At the same time, like relationships are not perfect. You know, they're not supposed to be perfect. It's supposed to be work. But I do think that it's a unrealistic expectation of other people to think that because look, they're on vacation, they don't have problems. Like that's not realistic as adults for us to think that. No, some relationships are better than others, right? But relationships are relationships. You're going to go through ups, you're going to go through downs. It's just how that works. And being in a social media relationship doesn't change that. And of course, like people not going to post. Certain people post themselves fighting, right? But most people shouldn't post themselves fighting and stuff like that. That's not what people do. When you go outside, you look good. You don't go outside with your bonnet on and all that, looking with slobber on your lip like you just woke up, right? When you go outside into the public, you look different. This is how that works. So
I think the worst thing a man can do is to put his relationship on the internet, even if he is capable of keeping it on that level that Buddy was doing for her, because it's going to attract attention from other women, for one, that can become a problem, or two, the expectations are going to be set so high by people who don't even fucking matter that you're going to feel like you have to continue to do more. It's inevitable that every man at some point is going to have a setback. They're going to fall off. And your fans are gonna notice that you used to post 3 times a day. Now you post 3 times a month, and it's then that you're going to say that's going to lead seeds of doubt, speculation, conjecture of people being like, "Oh, damn, maybe he done fell off, or maybe they done broke up." And then, Lord forbid, y'all actually break up. The rest of your content for the next 6 months is going to be centered around y'all's breakup. And as a man, we are automatically the bad guy. Anytime we break up, when a relationship ends, nobody goes to the woman and is like, damn, damn, Toya, what you do? Why mom break up with you? Like, no, it's my dog. What you do to Toya? Like, she was so sweet. She looked so happy when y'all on these trips and shit. And now all of a sudden, because y'all not together, it's because of your fault. They don't know that you caught Toya, you know what I'm saying, doing some strange things for change. Like, they automatically think it's your fault because you're a man. So if it was me, I would suggest that everybody who's in a really happy relationship keep that shit as far from social media as you fucking can.
I think you just got you can't listen to what other people saying. Like for example, right? Of course, some people stupid, right? So people think they see my relationship, and if for some reason they think I'm this like super nice, soft guy, right? And then they'll see me in comments saying some shit that they wouldn't expect me to say. They're like, "Oh my god, who are you?" Like, fucking think I'm like I'm me. Like I'm gonna talk how I want to talk, and I'm gonna say what I want to say.
See,
So
you're in a relationship influencer though. That's different. Like your content is centered around your relationship. So you can't keep your relationship off internet because that's where your content is. The rest of us are not, could not, and will not ever be relationship influencers. We're gonna keep that shit off the internet because we don't benefit from exposing our relationship to the degree that you do. You get paid from your relationship. Your relationship pays bills. If M White posts his wife online, I post my woman online, True post his, it's just gonna be niggas like, okay, they gonna look, damn, okay, so Willie do got a bad bitch. Damn, True do got a bad bitch. And it's just judgment for us. There is no upside for us putting our relationships online.
I do have to agree with that. Like my relationship is private. Nobody knows unless I say something. I make sure my it stays private. It's nobody's business.
I think it's only if you make your relationship like you monetize your relationship. Like Willie was saying, if you're somebody who is making that your brand, then sure, you're a product. So it's your relationship is contingent on your success and your reach and your viability or your legitimacy, whichever one works best. But that's again, and I hate to even say this, but Pretty said something about the celebrities. I think that is something that people do. Like sometimes you put it out there and you claim to be this individual that has it figured out. And relationship is what everybody's trying to figure out. So if you take that flag or take that position of, oh, I got it mastered, I got it cornered, well, yeah, that can be extreme pressure. And the reality is, if you're dealing with a person, you're going to deal with some kind of hell. That's just the truth. Like Ma said, people are people. Relationships all have some dark corners, some situation. If you're a mature adult and you balanced enough, you should know that. No relationship, no person is perfect.
What is one sign a couple is protecting an image more than protecting a relationship?
We have a great example of it recently. What's the cook, the light-skinned couple? That's perfect example.
Christy, yeah.
Well, I can't think. What's his name?
Desmond.
There you go, him. Like, look at it. Watch the videos. You see his face. I think MTR or Shaq, somebody went back, and like a year and a half, 2 years ago, you could see his face. And like, we all know what that face looked like when you're sick of the shit. Like, fellas, we all have that. We know what that face looks like. Like, damn, here she go again. Oh my God, here she go. Like, and we saw that face in those videos. And then fast forward when it comes out.
But the perfect example also, how about what is it? Khloe Kardashian and Lamar. They kept the facade for the longest time until they couldn't anymore. And that was the pressure because they have contracts, they have a TV show, they have all this stuff that they needed to upkeep, while in the background their marriage was falling apart. Or socially, for example, me, perfect example, I married at 17 right after high school with my high school sweetheart, and I had the pressure from my family that, you know, just everybody was like, oh, it's a mistake, it's a mistake. So I have the pressure that I need to be performative, and I was not allowed to expose as a young married, you know, teenager, all the challenges that I was going through because I was a child. But you know what? I was in this purity culture that you need to marry and you need to do this and you need to do that. And I was following those steps, and I was not allowed to say what I was going through because then it will land in the wrong side of my family. And then I will have to face the pressure. So I had to hush it and just keep the appearances.
I think that applies to any Kardashian marriage, from Kris Jenner down.
We could say that applies to Beyonce and Jay-Z too, because
nope,
she was having a whole bunch of trouble in Paradise. She wrote a whole album about it.
I think if you're gonna choose to stay with somebody for a reason that isn't you love them or want to be with them, I think it should be the kids. I don't think it should be validation from other people. I think if you're gonna make a sacrifice for a reason, I don't think it should be money. I think it should be about children or maintaining your family. But you know,
you don't think it's a sacrifice for money?
No, I don't value money enough that, you know what I'm saying? Like, I not to sacrifice my whole life and stay in a relationship I don't want to be in, and you know what I'm saying? But I definitely would do it for some kids. I got lucky. I don't have a problem with it. If I wasn't in that situation, I'd just grit my teeth and muscle through that shit.
Well,
for real.
it's easy to say, but how much money on the table though?
Bro, like, do you not remember how much money I walked away from for a motherfucker calling another person a nigga in front of me? Bro, I don't be concerned with that shit like that. Just think about that. We've had the conversation before, right? Mm-hmm. Like, that shit don't be making me move like that.
Yeah, but I know how passionate you are about your blackness. I don't know if anything compares to that. So I think that's a different category right here versus like staying in a relationship for a little bit.
Well, I'm more passionate about my kids than that. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So the money will be a bonus, but you're gonna stay for the kids.
Yeah. I'll stay for the kids.
Okay.
Now, if I had to like be no kids and fake it every like 3 minutes a day, but like a couple $100 million, yeah, I'll probably do that shit. I ain't gonna hold you.
Yeah, I think realistically, like those relationship couples, somebody who faking it, I think realistically, they just, when we do content, and it's back to fuck you. like after that. So
Don't live your life. You don't got no. You don't got to be around the person and none of that shit.
I mean, that'll be what y'all decide to do. If you really don't like that person, y'all probably be living separate and all that.
Hey, M. White, did you just say
So-
you would be in a fake relationship for $100 million?